My name is Garrett Kost. I am a park ranger here at the National Mall and Memorial Parks. This May, the Lincoln Memorial turns 100 years old. What's one speech that you know from memory? To many adults and children worldwide, that answer is the Gettysburg Address. It's so famous, in fact, it's carved inside the memorial walls.
To global visitors, Lincoln's Gettysburg Address defines freedom and equality after the bloody Battle of Gettysburg and the turbulent time of the Civil War. Freedoms secured in the United States after the war, like the ability to vote and protest, are not always found everywhere. Although each country is different, the Gettysburg Address can be seen throughout the world whenever inspiration is needed.
To help bring the words of the Gettysburg Address to life, American composer Aaron Copland wrote a contemporary piece that included excerpts from Lincoln's Gettysburg Address.
Copland performed his piece, Lincoln Portrait, in 1957 in Venezuela. During that time, Venezuela was under control of a dictator.
After reading the final words of the Gettysburg Address in Spanish, El gobierno del pueblo, por el pueblo, y para el pueblo, the audience erupted in cheers so loud that Copland later admitted he couldn't even hear his own orchestra. The New York Times also commented on Copland's performance, saying that the guest narrator, Juana Suo, had a magical impact. No one, not even Abraham Lincoln, knew the future of democracy in the United States during the Civil War. But when Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address, he spoke not with a certainty, but with a desperate plea for the future. Even when all things seem to be going wrong, the Gettysburg Address can serve as a rallying cry.
For instance, after World War II, the country of Hungary was under the influence of the Soviet Union. Economic downturn and political suppression led to a negative view of its leaders. Citizens wanted democracy and political freedom. They began a protest on October 23, 1956, which turned into a revolution. As Hungarians pleaded, one radio station held on to the bitter end, broadcasting Lincoln's Gettysburg Address.
7 years ago, our fathers fought on this continent with the nation.
The transmission then cuts out to the sound of gunfire. If you think that these historic events are distant, consider this. There was once a time when Americans both north and south were actively fighting each other. Abraham Lincoln sought to end the bloodshed, right the wrongs of slavery, and promote democratic values. It was this legacy after the Gettysburg Address that Lincoln left behind that helped to inspire these more modern pushes for democracy. These more recent examples of reforming governments might not be as distant as the American Civil War, but they are indeed quite similar. They are recreating, rededicating themselves to a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Venezuela and Hungary are just two examples of the Gettysburg Address's legacy around the world. Many more still turn to these inspiring words found inside the chamber here at the Lincoln Memorial for inspiration in times of need. The Gettysburg Address is not just for Americans, it is for all freedom-loving individuals from around the world.